Okay, this week's Parsha is a double Parsha once again. Nitzavim-Vayailech. These are the Parashot that often come in advance of Rosh Hashanah. We have 1 week, there's Rosh Hashanah, until the Chag itself. Yom Adin, Makabel the Malchus, welcome the King, stand before Hashem and the Beit Din Shalamala to justify existence. This week's Parsha, both the Parashot, they speak about the relationship a person has to have with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It mentions the concept of Hester Panim. If you want a deep understanding of Hester Panim, I suggest you read my Parsha sheet this week for Nitzavim-Vayailech, which you can either see on my site for Shar Nun Productions, or you can get it from Torah.org. You can read it directly if you want, and I'll send it to you. But the main thing is B'charta B'chaim. Choose life that you may live. The Torah is not talking to suicidal people. It's not talking about people who are prepared to jump off a building. They had enough of life already. It's talking about the fact of different dargis, different levels of life, of existence versus life itself. And the din, the judgment on Rosh Hashanah, is to determine how well you've done with that in the previous year, what you plan to do in the upcoming year. Have you chosen life? Meaning, have you chosen the life of Torah? Have you chosen free will, bechira? Have you chosen to be free of the Yitzhahara? It's an ongoing struggle, person's entire life. The Gemara says, Hashem doesn't help us. There's no way to succeed. So most of our avodah, most of our effort is in realizing we need Hashem's help. We need God's help against the Yitzhahara. The world has a difficult time doing exactly that. But anyhow, there's a piece, very important piece. It fits very much into the Parsha itself because of the fact that it's dealing with din, dealing with the judgment of an individual, dealing with the meaning of life, dealing with what we're supposed to accomplish. Torah lo b'shamayim, Torah is not in shamayim, that you have to go up there and go get it. You'd have to go get it, as Rashi points out, but it's down here amongst us. And in spite of all that, it's not always so clear to everybody exactly what's going on. You know, there's so many different explanations about what life is about, how to understand the Torah's mandate. But the Leshem has a very interesting piece here in a sefer called Hadamas V'Sharim, Rakadus for short, and it's worth going over this time of year, and to appreciate exactly what the din is on Rosh Hashanah. It's not what people normally think. He says the following thing. This is the middle of a section of a discussion he's having right now, and he says this, what we have discussed up until now, is really to do with what the Gemara talks about in Rosh Hashanah. Then on Rosh Hashanah, 3 books are opened up. As it says in the Gemara Rosh Hashanah on Tez Zayin Amud Bey 16b, the Kasvu Sham HaTosfos. Tosfos writes over there, the commentary Tosfos, the grandson of Rashi, writes and asks the Kasher of the Gemara. He says he makes a comment. He says that these Sfarim, these books that are opened up, have to do with the world to come. I mean, the classic understanding is it has to do with the Olam Hazeh, this world. Whether you are a righteous person, or whether, God forbid, a person's a Rasha, an evil person, or, as most people probably are, Benonim, they're in between, waiting to see what's going to happen Yom Kippur, right? So the Leshem, he asks the question, L'chor Yepal, it's wondrous. So this is what Tosfos should say. Ma shaykh ladun al chayil mabah ba'od shadam adayin l'mazeh, right? Hello, ein atas malazeh. What's the point of judging a person with respect to the world to come if the person's still living in Olam Hazeh, in this world? Olam Haba is a din that comes after Yom Adin Agad V'Naira, when history's all over, when the world to come actually begins. We have to decide who's going right away to the world to come, who has to go to Gehenna first. That's when it's shach. That's when it's relevant to discuss the issue of Olam Haba. So why does Tosfos say the din on Rosh Hashanah is dealing with the Olam Haba, if in fact the person is going to still be living, is still living and will live in the upcoming year? The gam in yatzachai bedino, because if a person comes out of the din on Rosh Hashanah chayiv, in other words, the Beit Din Shalamala decides this guy's not doing a good job, and he's got, as the Gemara says, he's got more averas, more transgressions than he actually has mitzvahs, right? He comes out chayiv, shama yishuv yitzchaper lo. What happened? Okay, so he comes out, he's guilty, right? But he does tshuva in the upcoming year. He makes amends. He apologizes. Yom Kippur moves him to change his life for the better, whatever the case may be. and he does tshuva. So if they judge him for Olam Haba, he's not going there on Rosh Hashanah, but now he is a Ben Olam Haba, so what? What do we do now? Right? A situation like that. He says, V'chein, im yotz zakai, harei lo yamin b'kedusha. Right? If he leaves Zakai, they say, yeah, this guy is going to the world to come because he's a tzaddik. But, unfortunately, people fall. As it says, Kosh Baruch Hu does not trust in his holy ones because people make mistakes. Rabbi Yochanan Kohen Gadol was the Kohen Gadol, the time of the Nitzavim-Vayailech, the Hellenist, for 80 years before he went bad. People go bad at some point in time, so now what? The person got the world to come, but now he no longer deserves the world to come, so what do we do now? So it's V'yesh Kana Lama B'Shas Achat, right? The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, there are people who are able to acquire their world to come in one moment. V'yesh Mabad Lama B'Shas Achat. There are people who can destroy their whole world in one moment by making a terrible mistake, right? Umato elas hu ma shedanim also al zeh b'choshana harei rak harega acharona tarchiach. What's the point of judging this person every single year to do with the world to come? And we know the last moment of life is really what decides it all. I mean, you can come down to the very last moment in life. A person can live a whole life of good, bad, evil, back up and down. But at the end, the last moment, who he was or who she was can be determined by what the person's thinking, what the person's holding with respect to Kosh Baruch Hu at that last moment. So that's the time to judge the person with respect to the world to come. He says, inyan hu. Right? Let's explain this now. Ki be'im shezoiche l'chad mabah hinei nifre'im imenu al avanasav ba'al mazeh. What they do basically, and it's a big chiddush, is they ask the question, if this person was going to die today, this person would die today, where they're holding right now, would they be a Ben Olam Haba? Would they be someone who's Zoiche to go to the world to come? If the answer is yes, then the Beis in Shalamala makes it that they give him his ownership in this world. In other words, he's doing pretty good, but he's got something still to fix up. So therefore, the Beis in Shalamala arranges it that in this world, rather than going to Gehenna, which is worse, they give him, it says, he needs to be refined and whitened, Gadol. Right? That's the next person, sorry. Right? No, that's not this, right? No, that's the next person. So they fix him up in this world. However, he says, let's say the person is not doing so good. This person, in fact, is making some terrible mistakes in this world, and he's not zoich at this point in time to the world to come. He needs a lot of fixing up. Tziruf is refinement, and libun is whitening, but it basically means the same idea that the person has to go through some major kind of rectification. It's not going to work in this world. More than likely, he won't even respond properly to what he's going to go through. Right? Rather, the only way he's going to be rectified is going through the 7 furnaces of Gehenna. The 7 furnaces of Gehenna, the 7 of them, right? Different levels, different people's levels of transgression. And all the judgment that takes place after death. That's the only way he is going to become rectified. So what happens in the meantime? He has zchuyot, he has merits, and he's not going to die just at this point in time, but he can't be rectified. So what do? They give him good. They give him good now in this world. Al derech shamru b'kedushin lamates amad beis ayin sham. The same way the Gemara says in Kedushin on 39b. Take a look over there. He says, Ki mesalkin dinu all la'achar misa ulpamim marim lablu mazeh. So sometimes, right, they lift the din, right, that's going to be coming after death for a person, and they give him bad in this world. Gam ken ki yesh rashiv v'tovlo, rashiv v'rallo. Right? So there, you have 2 types of Rishayim. You have Rishayim who get their just desserts in this world sometimes, and there are those who actually breeze through life and get what they want because they're going to get later on. It's all dependent upon the type of averas that were committed, how bad they were, and where the person's actually holding. So it could be that the person's as bad as he is, he's not so bad to have to wait till Gehenna, but rather they give him some of his bad, his ownish in this world.